Okay, so what we're going to do here today is that I've finally corralled Coach Jeff Smith here into a short little interview. Now, Coach Jeff, or is it Coach Smitty?
Oh, Coach Jeff.
Coach Jeff, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
He's got the shirt on and everything, you know. Nothing pretentious about this bugger, eh?
No, yeah, always self-advertising.
Self-advertising.
I'm my only advertisement.
Well, actually, that's what I wanted to have a start with. Is that there's lots of people out there that will probably be quite envious of your lifestyle there, Jeff. You managed to train and to travel, well, pretty much the world with your athletics, and you know, obviously your triathlon. And would you like to sort of give us a bit of a background on how you came to do that?
Well, quite by accident. I kind of worked out early that I wasn't your regular 9 to 5 office guy. I'm the kind of guy you probably employ me at 8:30 in the morning. By 8:45, I'd be looking for a coffee and a donut and be gone for the rest of the day. So I had to find something that I loved to do, and I was a soccer player, and had some bad injuries, and that led me to go and learn a bit about how to fix those injuries up. And then I just started naturally working in the health and fitness field, and I was constantly having people ask me, "Can you write me a program to fix this, or can you help me do that?" And so I thought, well, geez, people are asking me all the time. Maybe people will pay me to do it.
They pay you to do it, do they?
Well, yeah, people make that mistake of paying me to coach them. So I just kind of fell into it and started.
And so how long has that you've been doing it now, Jeff?
Geez, that's since 1983.
The Jeff Smith Empire.
Yeah, the PowerFit Empire, and it totals me.
The good thing about this, though, is that because you've got a lifestyle that people probably have an envy of, in so much that you're not restricted to that 9 to 5. So I mean, so people said, well, okay, how'd you get your income? Now you've got a bit of sponsorship, you've got clients, coaching clients that get you around the world, does it, Jeff?
Yeah, we've made it. We've made a living for several years now out of doing a little bit of everything. We have some great sponsors that have looked after us on and off over the years. It's never been a huge, big deal of sponsorship, but it's always been maybe a bike here or a wheel there, or a few dollars towards an entry fee.
Just interrupting here, a good scalp under his belt with Brad.
Brad Carlefelt, Stixie Carlefelt. One of, Brad was a young kid. His father Paul and his mother Carmel, and Debbie and I used to all run together in Wagga Wagga, and Paul and I were doing triathlons. And we would quite often ride from the Carlefeld's house or run from the Carlefeld's house, and Brad, as a young kid, 11, 12-year-old, would just pester us to come out and train with us, and we said, no, you're too young, and finally we shipped him off to France.
And as I say, the rest is history. So what's actually Brad doing now? What's he up to?
Well, Brad's actually just made a comeback. Only a couple of weekends back, has made a comeback to racing and won the Gold Coast Triathlon, the Luke Harrop Memorial Triathlon. Brad's been out of racing for 5 months.
He was just lucky I wasn't there, mate.
Yeah, I think so. He often says if Big Russ was here, I wouldn't race. But leading into Beijing, Brad's dream was always to go to the Olympics and win an Olympic gold medal, and was selected as the first reserve for Athens, and then selected in the main squad for Beijing, but had problems leading into Beijing, had a piece of bone in the wrong place on his hip, and that was digging into muscles and nerves and giving him no end of grief, and really brought him undone at the Beijing race. If you go back and look at that race, you'll see that he came off the bike, and the moment he went to run was just in sheer agony, and sort of struggled through to finish 16th. And immediately after Beijing, was into hospital, had a huge piece of bone shaved off his hip, some other surgery touched up in there, and 5 months off, nearly 6 weeks in a wheelchair, and has been back training well here on the Gold Coast, and come out at the Luke Harrop and won that race again for the third time, and there you go. So he's back and racing, and I think he will be a definite threat at the London Olympics.
And you see the state of Australian triathlon at the moment, Jeff. I mean, you talk to a few coaches, you see what's going on. When you look at it from a world perspective, we seem to have lost our edge that we had when Greg Walsh and the like were, Brad Bevan were pushing the envelope for Australia, and we're up on podiums. We seem to have lost that edge. What's happening? Coaching? What's the story?
Yeah, look, I think what happened is that and I lay the blame squarely on our governing body, Triathlon Australia, and it's not an unknown fact that many of us were unhappy with how Triathlon Australia had taken our sport. And if we go back to the late 90s, we had Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon live triathlon racing on our screens from all around the country, and the guys you mentioned, Welshie, Bevo, these guys were household names at the time, and we would sit and watch them race for 3 or 4 hours on a Sunday afternoon in these pretty nice locations, Twin Waters, Novotel, on the Gold Coast, Manly, St
But even the old Tui's races as well, eh?
Were fantastic. And so it was live TV, but what happened, our governing body, it didn't look after the guys that were looking after that series. So people like St George, Tui's Blue, the Essentia group of companies were pouring heaps of money in to make this live triathlon racing, which was, we had people glued to the TV screens, we had huge crowds, but the governing body didn't take its role seriously enough and did not look after the sponsors that were looking after the athletes. And subsequently, when you get big organisations like the Essentia Group, they sit in boardrooms and they discuss where they can best get the most bang for the millions of dollars that they're putting out in sponsorship.
That's the downside of it, isn't it? It's not about the sport, it's about the bang for the buck, and unfortunately that's the game of professional sports people, is you've got to supply the goods for the sponsors, and if the sport's not doing it, you're going to lose your sponsorship. We did have the golden era one, the Olympic Games. We're here in Australia. Australia got some good funding, but that seemed to have all dried up, and we're back to, what shall we say, struggling again?
Yeah, I think, and I lay the blame at the governing body, because the governing body, to me, should always have the interest of the sport and its athletes first and foremost in its mind. And what we had was a group of people running the sport that were more interested in their own interests than the interests of the sport and the athletes. And so once that sort of thing starts to unravel, it can take a whole generation to recover. We've got a great stock of young guys out there racing on the world scene. But
who do you reckon's good enough to come in at the moment?
Young guys like Dan Wilson are out there. Dan is right on the cutting edge. Guys like Brad and Courtney Atkinson, they might be tending to be a little bit of the old guard now. But they're still out there. They're still young enough that they can take this sport.
At Xterra, you did the Worlds in Hawaii. Unfortunately, you had a bit of a shite time.
Was it? Yeah, yes and no. It was a great race. When we heard that we had a qualifying round here in Australia, we were beside ourselves with excitement. A whole bunch of us here from Brisbane travelled down and did the race in Dalesford, Victoria. Managed to get qualifying spots to the World Championships. Went to Hawaii, and that was just a dream come true. And you're right. I had 2 flats, but not the best of races, but still a great experience. 2010 we're going back, and we're going to have a big crack at it.
Oh, awesome, awesome. So we've been sort of rattling on enough here. We've gone past the 10-minute.
So we lesson number 1: never let Jeff get in front of a camera or a microphone.
Well, check out Jeff's site at www.powerfit.net.au. Have a look at what he's doing around the area. So, Jeff, for us to go, what sort of tips could you just impart as a success for people attaining something?
There's no shortcuts.
No shortcuts.
Work hard. Have fun.
Love your mother.
Love your mum. Thank your mother for the rabbits. No, I think, look, you hear all this stuff all day, every day. I think you've got to start to subscribe to some of these sayings that have been around for a long time, and treat them with a little bit more seriousness. But honestly, if you want to succeed, get out there, get a dream, go after it. Don't take no for an answer. Work hard, be happy, stand tall, be nice to people. You can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong. Have good karma in your life.
Good karma.